Mason.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear a story?
Yeah.
So, the general contractor that I work for right now, the company has 5 total people working there. There's the owner, there's the office administrator, and up until last week, there were only two field guys. The third field guy got added last week while I was gone on my honeymoon. So, I was talking to my supervisor before I left and said, it'd be funny to mess with this guy and tell him that I have Tourette's. And make it just like a thing out of it. So he did. He told the dude that I had Tourette's like last week on Monday, apparently. And he told me today that it was like an entire week until like Friday. He asked, like, how does he deal with the customers? And my supervisor goes, he can just turn it off. So this is my first day back at work, and I stopped by the job site that the new guy's at, and here comes Tourette's Thaddeus. So I'm doing like the swearing and just weird, like the whole night. Like it's played up to be a very like
Overdone.
No. Like just a touch of Tourette's.
Okay.
Like just to make it like more believable. Not like they've got some handicapped person on the job site. But could tell like my supervisor introduces me, like doing a little bit of the thing, and this guy, we get left to kind of finish up this thing on the job site together, and I can tell this dude is being quiet. Yeah. But eventually I come up to him and I do like a Tourette's question for him, like, have they sent you to the doctor yet? And he's like, what? I'm like, well, the company gets, and I'm doing like the whole gestures and then the swearing in between and all that stuff. But since I have Tourette's, the company gets a check because I'm disabled. So they sent my supervisor to the doctor as well to get a note for him saying that he has it, and so they're going to send you as well, so that there can be a check given. And he's like, so I get a check if I go to the doctor? I'm like, no, the company will get a check. He's like, well, what are they going to do? I'm like, they're going to diagnose you with Tourette's. He's like, okay. And then like, because I was kind of doing a different type style of speech, all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm just kidding with you, dude. I don't have Tourette's. He's like, whoa, okay. Like, I've never met anyone with Tourette's, so I just thought, I was like, okay.
So you went the whole day like that?
It was just the end of the day when I met him, so it was just...
You should have tested his loyalty.
Dude,
it would have been funny if you were just like said you had Tourette's, but like don't act like it. Just call everybody like names. Be like, dude, you need to get this done, you little pussy ass bitch. and then just go up to him and be like, hey, like, I don't really have Tourette's. I told him I did so I can keep cursing at everybody. And see how long it took for him to tattle on you.
I told management that so I can keep swearing at them.
Oh, that's funny. I went to school with a kid who had Tourette's. He had multiple disabilities, but he also had Tourette's. He was a really nice kid. Like, you know, like a lot of the kids at our school, like they weren't like you see in the movies where they get bullied and stuff like that. It didn't really happen. But this one guy was in there, and I think it was rec sports, playing basketball. He just screamed. Everybody would laugh. They thought it was freaking hilarious. But 3 of my buddies, and they're all black. We're doing something, and he like the teachers. We're in the gym. The teacher's explaining something, and he just like stands up and screams at 5 times the N-word, and we're talking about ER. And the face on the kid, his face, like he turned ghost white and just stared at my buddy. She's like, I'm so sorry. And they were just dying laughing. They thought it was hilarious. But this poor kid, like, his soul left his body after he realized what he just said out loud.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, dude, I felt so bad for him. But it was just like, my friends were like, at first they were like stared, like they were messing with him, like staring at him. Like, what did you just say? And then just started bursting out laughing.
Oh, my gosh.
So I've got funny Tourette stories.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But damn.
Yeah.
So did the guy come back the next day?
We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. This happened today.
Yeah.
Today's Monday.
Yeah. And hopefully the podcast will be out Tuesday. So.
Yeah.
But it's been a couple weeks, so.
Yeah, it's been a weird couple weeks. I was telling you earlier. I was been sick for like 3 weeks. It feels like forever.
Could it be valley fever?
Maybe. I felt like I had the flu. I got sick for, like, I was in grade school. Couldn't sleep. Flu. Might have been COVID too at the same time. I don't know, but it was something. I just felt fucked up. And then I started feeling a little bit better, but not fully. And then I found out I had a sinus infection. So today's the first day 3 antibiotics, where I feel normal. But I just feel like I've lost so much time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've been out for so long.
How many emails did you have when you came back?
Like 150 something. I mean, I checked my emails periodically, and if it was like, there was only like 2 emails that needed like immediate attention because I have some closings coming up. But like I didn't text people. Like I was just so out of it, I didn't even want to text people back. Like I missed your wedding. How was your wedding?
It was good.
Yeah.
A lot of friends and family.
Did anybody get like shit faced?
No, but here's what. So I was on strict orders from the fiance now wife that to be on good behavior, right, for the wedding. Because I wanted to have fun, do like pranks, stuff like that. So I was like, all right. I eventually didn't tell her what I was going to do for the rehearsal, but I told all my guys, I'm like, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're being told that we need to be good for the wedding. We're having fun at the rehearsal. We're going to show up, and here's the dress code. Pants, but no shirts, and either suspenders and a bow tie or just a tie. So everyone except for my brother shows up, and we come piling out of cars. Her family's there. She's got family that she hasn't seen in years there. And here we come. Just don't care.
Bare shirtless too?
Oh, yeah. I'll have to show you a picture.
That's hilarious.
We should put it as like...
How pissed off was she?
She wasn't too bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it actually worked out. So, it was hilarious.
So the whole night you guys were just shirtless with ties and straps?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good time, too. Like, everyone had a good laugh out of it, so... But my brother heard that I wasn't allowed to do anything and decided to step up and be the good best man that he is and decided, all right, I didn't promise anything to his wife. So he shows up, and him and some of the groomsmen go in one of the other rooms where we're getting ready, and they're not letting me see what they've got in there. Uh-oh. And they come out, and they're like, all right, everyone's putting one on. It's a dog shock collar.
Oh, Jesus.
So everyone straps it to their legs. Each person has a buddy, and there's 3 remotes. So we started like playing games with it where we'd put all 3 remotes in the other room, and then we were shooting pool shots, and if you made it and the other person didn't, you got to go in the room and choose a random remote. So you might be choosing your own remote and just click it. We left them on basically the entire night, probably up until like 30 minutes before we did like the exit for the whole like night. So they didn't do anything during the ceremony. My brother also bought a taser, like full on, just the
shoot the taser.
No, like that.
Yeah.
But what he also started doing during the reception was, as he's going and saying hi to guests, he'd be like, guess what? I have a remote that controls a shock collar that's on Thaddeus' leg. Would you like to press it? So he probably went to like 3 tables just handing them the remote, and they're just clicking it to watch me jump because I'm like, son of a...
Did it hurt? The jolt, just like a jolt?
Yeah. Well, so you could have, there's different levels. There's 1 to 16. Oh, shit. And basically the agreement was, hey, we're not going over 10. And there was a couple times, I got hit by 16 like 2 or 3 times that day. And that one is, you are...
Did you drop?
Just about. Like, you're just... It's bad, so...
Have you seen the videos where they do it like... They'll like... Everybody shoots a free throw? Or something like that, and if you miss, It's like all the random ones, and you have to pick one, and kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's around their neck.
Oh, dude, part of the hard part was like they've got the 2 prongs that come off of it. So by the end of the night, one of the things that just hurt was the prongs like pressing into your leg, not necessarily the electricity. It was just like, this is just uncomfortable. But
That's hilarious.
yeah, it was a good time.
And that was just the rehearsal dinner, or wasn't the wedding?
No, that was the wedding. So we put those on getting ready for the wedding. We had those on for wedding pictures. The photographer started getting mad at us. And then they stopped during the wedding ceremony because the wife was like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
we're not doing this.
Oh, I wish I was there. I would have held the button.
Oh, dude.
What was the longest?
It wasn't too bad because everyone knew not to like hold it down just because they weren't.
I just would have been like, bzz, 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 bzz. As soon as you got up, bzz.
But that's the thing too. Like everyone's got like you've got each other's remote. So if you see like if someone buzzes you, you're gonna end up buzzing. So, like it just starts a chain reaction. So
That sounds awful.
yeah.
And did the wife know that was going on beforehand, or she figured it out?
She found out like during pictures.
Oh shit! Was that after the ceremony?
No, before.
You guys did pictures before.
Yeah, I did the first look and all that good stuff.
Nice.
So
What were you guys' colors? Like, did you wear a black tuxedo?
we did black on black suits, and then
You didn't. What did you do to like be different?
probably the black on black, but
No, but I mean, like usually, like you know, like
for
like
the
all the groomsmen
groom?
will wear
Yeah.
a tie. The actual groom will wear a bow tie kind of thing.
we did it reversed. I did a tie. They all did bow ties.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah,
Sweet.
it's cool. One and done.
Nice.
I don't want to pay for that again.
Is that as the customary? The bride's family pays for? Is that out the window these days?
Their family did help out, so I don't want to pretend like they did
didn't,
it.
but still.
It was an expensive wedding, and between the wife and I, we did end up paying for
A lot of it.
We did pay for a lot.
Ouch.
So
Nobody got too drunk?
no, and it was out in was that Queen Creek, so a lot of the people that were coming,
Had to drive back.
yeah. So it was no one was getting too crazy. We've got a lot of alcohol left over,
Oh, yeah.
so if you want some, let me know. And
What kind is it?
vodka, rum, Jack.
Oh, yeah, dude. Should have brought it in today.
It's at Joe's house.
Oh, does that say? Oh, he's dry now, though.
Yeah,
He doesn't drink.
they had just collected it because they were in the wedding party.
Yeah, got it out of your way.
Yeah,
Nice. Hell yeah.
so it was a good time. But yeah, went to San Diego afterward. Spent the week there. They had we had planned on staying in San Diego just outside of Coronado
Mm-hmm.
and spending most of our time on the Coronado Island, going to the beach, all that stuff. They had the basically warnings on the beach to not go in the ocean on Coronado Island because there's a sewage spill
Oh.
from Tijuana that is basically coming up the coast of California.
Oh, jeez.
So we ended up going up to some other beaches farther north, but it was hilarious.
Yeah,
just
well,
getting
Coronado
there.
just has pretty beaches. Yeah, they don't get really like waves or anything.
Coronado?
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They get great waves.
Coronado Island, like you have to go over the bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm remember that wrong. I used to go to San Diego all the time.
It depends on the time of day and when
Did
the
you boogie
tides
board?
are coming in and out. Not really, no, we didn't swim too much because it was still cooler outside. Like it's 60 some degrees
Oh,
during
yeah,
the day, so
ice
it's like
cold.
yeah. But we did get in the water, have fun, and just mostly kind of relaxed on the beach. Went
Did
to
you
the
guys
zoo and
bang
all
in
that.
the ocean?
We did not.
That'd be hard to pull that off. You have to go at night.
Yeah.
Did you stay like on the beach?
No, we stayed 15 minutes away from the Coronado Beach, so it worked out perfect that we were just outside of like San Diego downtown.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Costco like right around the corner from us, so we were like, nice. But most of the stuff we wanted to get to was all within 15 minutes.
That's not
The
bad.
zoo was
Oh, yeah,
15
the
minutes
zoo's right
away.
there, yeah.
So it was. We accidentally picked the perfect spot.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So
I love San Diego.
yeah.
I'm probably going down there this summer for her to do deep sea fishing.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is that the It's like a 48-hour trip or whatever.
There's a bunch of them. You can do half-day trips, full-day trips, 2-3 day trips.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to do either like a half or full day there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because my buddy lives in California.
Nice.
Whoa. What is it called? I don't know. Small little town. Not by the beach.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's weird. It's a small little town, but Trevor, who works with us, he grew up in that town.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Super
funny.
weird.
Yeah, I've had some...
Victorville. That's what it's called, Victorville.
I've had some friends who went and did the deep sea fishing thing, and they came back and they're just stockpile of fish afterward.
Yeah,
I ate some of the raw fish too.
I don't like fish, but I like to fish. I want to
Really?
catch something big, like a big ass tuna that takes like 45 minutes to reel it in.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
My grandfather went up to Alaska to do some fishing and caught something that was about 5 feet long, because he's got the picture of him standing right next to it.
Damn, that's sick.
Yeah. And I would love to do something like that, or go to Alaska and do like some salmon fishing and then cook it like right there, just to be like, you don't get any fresher than this. You don't get any more authentic than this. This is straight from, pull it from the river, ocean, whatever, and
Yeah.
go from there.
When we used to go to Minnesota, we used to go fishing in the mornings. And my Aunt Jenny would, because they have like pike and bass and stuff. So we would catch a bunch of bass and stuff, and then she would cook it for dinner. It's the only time
Nice.
I ate fish. I would think I was like, last time I was there, I was 12. But it was like she put it in like batter, deep fried it.
yeah.
So like, I could eat it.
You don't like fish?
No, I don't. If it breathes underwater, I usually don't eat it. I'll eat shrimp, like fajita shrimp.
Not even salmon though?
No, I've tried. I've tried to get into it because it's like, healthy for you and all that stuff, but I just don't. Something with like the fishiness plus the texture, just like, ugh.
Dude, I love salmon. There was a time when I was eating salmon like twice a week.
I really wish I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured out a recipe for that. That's one of the things that I feel like I cook the best. Like,
Salmon?
the best dish that I can make is salmon. Yeah. I'll grill it and with some. I looked up a recipe on how to make it one time, and it's super simple with like lemon and butter and whatever, and then I added on to it. So one day I looked up. I found like a brown sugar salmon recipe. Didn't read it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw brown sugar on my salmon. It was awful, but basically figured out one of the things that I do with it at the end. So I'll cook the salmon. I will melt butter and then put some brown sugar in there, stir that all together, and then I will pour some of that on the salmon, because one of the things that is hard with fish, and especially, like, I don't know, for me it's been with salmon too, is that when you cook it, you can cook it like in the aluminum foil to try and keep all the juices in it, but you're still sometimes going to be just drying it out a little bit, which if you pour that butter over it, since that salmon has lost a lot of the juiciness, it's going to soak it all up. So it has that butter with a little bit of brown sugar soaked right inside of it. So that flavor is just, oh.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Do the same thing, but do it with chicken.
Probably could. Start off with some lemon, cilantro, olive oil, and salt. Be the way to go.
Hell yeah. That sounds delicious. I'm fucking starving. I really am.
Are you looking something up right now?
Now I'm ordering food.
That's how hungry you are?
Yeah, that's how hungry I am.
What are you getting?
Chipotle.
Solid.
And hopefully they don't deliver it in the middle of the podcast.
They're bringing it here.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, they won't. We shouldn't be podcasting that long.
What time?
7 o'clock.
We're still going to be podcasting at 7.
But they're always late.
Oh.
Like 15 minutes late. 7:09.
Do you ever get annoyed at like all the delivery fees?
Yeah. I don't usually do it that much. I went through a span where I was doing it, but I had gift cards.
Oh, yeah.
And like Apple Cash from like winning in fantasy football, it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
So I would just like, oh, I have it. So I did it.
Yeah.
Order to the office.
My dad, when he got COVID and the first time he went to the hospital, and that was like so people from the church they would bring meals by the house or whatever, but they would also just like drop off like, hey, here's a DoorDash gift card. And that was the first time we'd ever used it. But even just looking at the bill on that, it was like, holy crap, because...
Yeah, I don't do DoorDash, though. I download the restaurant's app. It seems to be cheaper that way, because DoorDash, like, just adds on top of it.
Yeah. Because that's where it's like, you've got a delivery fee, then you've got the company's fee, and you've got... It's just
well, then also everything's priced higher.
Yep.
So, unless it's something that I can't, like, they don't... Almost did ice cream once, but I just figured that'd be a bad idea. It'd be melted by the time we got here.
Right?
But
yeah. Trying to think, what else have we got for you?
that's it.
That's it. That's all we've done.
Yeah, well, the last 3 weeks have been a blur. I don't really know what happened. Well, should we just get into it?
I guess we should, if we ran out of our BS to talk about. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you, though.
Oh, no.
I'm going to think of it later and just be like, wait a minute.
Were we going to talk about the employer stuff?
Yeah, which I was going to lump that in with our serious part, but...
Okay, it's either that or we can talk about your sex life.
Yeah, the wife really doesn't want me to do that.
It's probably a good
Especially
idea.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Which, I have a funny story to tell you off air.
Did you incorporate the shot collar?
No, my brother or my friend, he kept those. Because he bought 6 of them, and to buy 2 of them was $70.
Jesus.
Yeah, that dude spent over $200 on getting all of those.
Yeah, worth it.
Yeah, but still, to have your friends be like, we're going to spend hundreds of dollars just on your wedding like that, I'm like, all right, guys, like...
Just give me the $200.
No, not even that, just like, wow, okay, thanks. Like, I don't know, I had a good time with the groomsmen I had there just because a lot of them, just, I don't know, super close friends, like, it was, I don't know, it was a cool time, like, we had a cool moment we shared all before the wedding, but, yeah.
Very cool.
So.
How old are you?
25.
Okay, yeah.
I was when we were driving out to California, I was showing the wife some Dave Chappelle from the Chappelle Show.
She's never seen it before?
No.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I showed her the racial draft, and then
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
the black white supremacist one.
Oh, yeah, those are classics.
Yeah. So now we have a thing where we start going, March power. Yeah. It was a good time. All right, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sledgehammers in the Office podcast, where we celebrate the heavy hitters on the job site and in the office. Today I'm joined by MasonOxendale. What are we drinking, sir?
Just some classic water, you know. Trying to get my body back to normal. Get hydrated.
Good old H2O.
Yep.
Is that high quality? And then I've got the Shamrock Farms chocolate milk, the whole milk, because that one is the favorite. And then for this week, which you guys probably won't notice this, Joe will be with us Thursday when we'll have a guest on the show. And so you'll see that episode next week. But he had some stuff to do for his car tonight, but he'll be with us on the next episode. So, getting into our numbers real quickly to give you a snapshot of what's going on inside of the real estate market here, specifically in the greater Phoenix area, but then hopefully this also kind of gives you an idea of what else is going on wherever you are. We have 8,848 active homes. That's down 896 from roughly last month. Closed 5,780, down 400. And let's see. I thought that was actually up. Yes, up, sorry. 471. Interest rate 6.95%, which is up 0.5%. 2x4s 325. Those haven't moved in quite a while. Plywood 1425. That's up $2. half-inch copper pipe, 29.26, which is up from a month and a half ago, but from what we usually check is a month, and that's staying relatively stable there. So numbers-wise, here's what I forgot to mention, and I feel like this ties into our numbers. We're recording this on the 22nd of May.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode that we did as a group together was November 18th. It has been 6 months that we've been doing this on a pretty regularly basis. So back when, which would be cool, let's go even check those numbers. Back when we did our first numbers for that, though, where's 18? Our active, I believe, was 16,000. 15,857, and closed was at 4,222. So we've seen that number since then. I think it went to 16, and then from there has just slowly started coming down, and is about half of what it was 6 months ago. Closed has very slowly increased from 4,222, and now we're closing in on 6,000 if things keep trending in the same direction. So, I don't know. In all of that to say, interest rate just went up 0.5% again. So
yeah, that hasn't. I mean, it's been in the high sixes that whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and like right now, more houses are closing. So I mean, what is that? Almost 1,500 more closed homes
than 6 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just. I mean, people are still buying. I don't really think that interest rates affecting it too much.
I feel like interest rates freaked everyone out, and then a long enough time period went by where people were like, all right, we still got to move.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing.
Exactly, yeah. People are still moving. Yeah, I think we just saw, like, that was kind of the... People were still listing their houses thinking that they could get an abnormal amount of money for it. And then people are always still buying to move. I mean, like, how many people are here locally in Maricopa County? A lot.
Yeah.
You know, so people are still buying and selling. I mean, even the price of homes, like, we've plateaued and even slightly going up a little bit. So it's not like home, but, you know, usually with low inventory, that means there's a lot of people buying out there, which leads to competitive offers, multiple offers, driving the price up, thus, you know, increasing the value of the homes. But we really haven't seen too much of that.
Yeah.
I mean, even most of my listings, the ones that haven't appraised at the purchase hasn't, you know, been too far off. So it hasn't been too much of an issue.
Yeah. And I feel like, I know you hate this, but to me it's, like I always say, it's a marker as far as if we even track the median purchase price over the last 6 months, or even the last 3 months, if that's what the appraisers are doing, we haven't seen a cliff that it fell off of. That's why it makes sense as far as the appraisals come in very close to any of those offer prices that you're getting on houses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then to your point about the population too, I just pulled it up. This is 2021, which I believe it has increased another 200,000 possibly since then, which would put us at like 4.7 million people in Arizona, which we could probably say 4.6, but
yeah,
4.6 million in Maricopa County alone.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
People need places to live.
So, but like, knowing that number, right? We've got, even if we were to say 5,500 people are moving every month, that's going to be 66,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to say 4.5 million, let's see if I can get my numbers right, divided by 66,000, 666. Math. It's like 1 in 68 people.
1 in 68 people?
I believe so, if my math's right.
Or they're buying or selling?
That's for houses sold.
Yeah. That's the thing. Everybody wants it to be, oh, hey, it's a good time to buy, or it's not a good time to buy. Like, that's not necessarily true. We talk about it all the time. It's definitely more situational.
Yeah, which I think, too, like, the point being for here is that when you think about, there are 4.5 million people in Maricopa County. and 5,000 transactions, almost 6,000 transactions happened in the last 30 days. Like, for us, when we're always tracking those numbers, where it's like, all right, we're in the 4s, then we're okay. Hey, we broke the 5s. It's like, for us, it seems like that's a lot. We're doing good, and like, can it get higher than that? And then you're like, stepping back to be like, there's 4.5 million people here. Like, what are we talking about? Yes, people are moving. How many? Like, 1 in 68 people are having life crap happen to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're moving.
Yes. I know. And just because the interest rates were so low, like, people have either refinanced or they purchased a home with a super low interest rate. So it's like when I call and talk to people, like, it's like, if you like your house, why the fuck would you move? Especially with a low interest rate, you know? So you're not seeing a lot of those people that are, moving every 4 to 5 years. They have so much equity in the house. They have a low interest rate. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if anything, the interest rates are hurting the higher priced homes just because a lot of people are getting priced out of it.
Yep.
Because they can't afford as much, whether it's the house itself or just the fucking house payment.
Yeah. And you're telling me that you're closing on several right now, and I think you've got some other active deals going. So from what you're seeing, even just personally with those, are you still seeing seller concessions and all that?
Oh, yeah. You're always getting it. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, as a buyer's agent, if you're not, unless you're talking with the listing agent and there's multiple offers on it or there's a lot of activity, but like 99% of the time, you're at least asking for it to see what you can get, so like you're still getting, which is a normal market. Like a normal market is like, you always, most of the time you'll, ask for a little bit of concessions and stuff. That's kind of,
there's a give and a take.
Yeah, exactly. A normal thing.
So, and I think we've talked about this before, but just to touch on it briefly, as far as you've got a couple listings going right now, when you were having the conversation with those people, did you even just talk to them as far as seller concessions? It's going to probably be a very real thing that the buyers are going to ask for, and here's what it would look like to the bottom line in regards to what they could possibly walk away with.
Yeah, you always have that conversation when, like, the listing presentation. Even when I run their numbers, so they want to, if we list it at this price, this is what your profit's going to be. I always tell them, like, I always put down a number for inspection stuff and or concessions, not like super high, but, around in the middle, just so there's
just to account
plant
for
that expectation that they're probably going to ask for something. And if they don't, that's a good thing. And definitely, you're most likely they're going to ask for something to be fixed or ask for a credit. So yeah, you definitely set that expectation up on, like, realistically, if we sell at this price, this is going to be your walk away. And then even when we, if we get offers, whether it's one or multiple ones, I always reference that, because I always save copies of it. It's like, yeah, we talked about this was the walk away number that we were, hoping to get. So with this offer, this is what your walk away number is. So we're pretty close to it. We're at it. We're above it, kind of thing. So yeah, you got to set that expectation. I mean, that's just no matter what market is, except for maybe during like 2020, 2021. Didn't talk about that. The only thing you talk about would be like concessions. Yeah, nobody's gonna ask for that. Yeah,
I told you about that client who called me, right?
Yeah, who wanted you to re-up on his...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, I learned about concessions and things like that. Yeah, that wasn't around when you were doing things, so...
Yeah, that was over a year ago. Times have changed.
Yeah. Whatever. All right, keeping with the real estate topic, do we want to jump into some down payment assistance program talk, or what are we thinking?
Yeah, so, I mean, during 2020... because of the unknown or whatever, they stopped a lot of those down payment assistance programs, first-time home buyers, but they're starting to pop up again, especially with like the interest rates, and it's just being harder for people to get, approved for a loan. What was that thing going around? Oh yeah, the loan level price adjustment that everybody was freaking out about. Basically, I mean, you probably already know the ins and outs of most people, that are reading about it, all that kind of stuff. It's at first the headlines were,
If you have a terrible
credit score, you're gonna have a better interest rate. You're gonna have a better. It's not that. It's exactly what it is. It's a loan level price adjustment. So depending on your credit score, basically, depending on your credit score, that's kind of like, the better credit score you have, the better kind of interest rate that you can get. That's why, the advertised interest rate isn't necessarily the one you're going to get, depending on what your credit score is. All they did is they just adjusted that price difference. So it's going to,
So now if
you're not getting a discount for having a lower credit score. It's just the difference between a good and a lower credit score was so huge that they just lowered it a little bit. So they're still getting.
So it's still better to have a good credit score than a bad credit score?
Always.
So, and the payments reflects that as well.
Yes, exactly. It's just if you were going to compare it on like a spreadsheet kind of thing of like then versus now, it's just that it's going to be a little bit better for the person with the lower. It's just to help the lower credit score people afford a home to buy. So don't get a shitty credit score because you're trying to buy a house. That's going to fuck you. So, so that was just a weird thing that got out of hand because of social media. Where people just read a little bit, they could figure it out that it's just a price adjustment.
Yeah.
Which
that to me is so dumb because
I'm not saying I agree with it either.
Okay, well, but at the same time, I didn't know the ins and outs of it. I had just seen headlines. So for you to walk through it, to me, it still makes sense. Where it's like the disparity that we saw. Whereas if you have a 640 credit score compared to if you have a even 720 or better, it was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Especially with how the house prices have gone so high, the interest rate for us is now higher. But for it to be, hey, we're just closing the gap on that. If that were the headline, it's like, okay, business people care, but obviously clickbait sold it to everyone else.
It would be a comparison. I always think that's funny when you get the overdraft fee charges on your bank account. Yeah. So you get charged extra money for not having enough money.
Yes.
Even though obviously that's an issue.
Yep.
Yeah. So $35. So now for them it costs them $32 for a transactional fee. It's that minimal. But it's big enough where it can help people actually afford a home.
Right.
So, but should those people be buying houses? Maybe, maybe not. Depends. A lot of people have some weird stuff on their credit.
Situations are situational.
Yes, exactly.
All right, which brings us back to
the down payment assistance programs. Yeah, everybody, thought that, a lot of people labeled them as first-time home buyers.
Right. Here, maybe let me set the table with this.
Okay.
When I got on the team, there's a lot of, and you don't know anything, you're trying to still figure stuff out. You've got the people helping you out to try and guide you through it. There's people who would call in and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. It'll be my first time buying a house. So heard that there's these first-time home buyer programs where I can get $10,000 that would help, that would go towards buying this house. So I want to figure out how do I apply for that program?
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, and I think even back then, they just used that more of an advertisement. Then it was still essentially a down payment assistance program.
Right.
But anyways.
Which, from what we were told too, that didn't exist.
Yes.
It was the down payment assistance program. And when the lender sits down with you, and obviously anything numbers-wise we talk about, fact check with a lender. We've got references for you, but if you have one, great. Anyways, they'd be like, yes, you can get, I think it was over $5,000 in some cases in down payment assistance, but they didn't just go, hey, here's a check for $5,000, go nuts. They said, here's a check for $5,000, and your interest rate might be several % higher now.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the day when we bought our first home, 2012, 2011, there was actually government assistance programs where we actually got $8,000 from the government for a down payment. So it's like we put an offer in, and then the government paid $8,000 for our down payment, and like it was free money. Like they don't do that anymore.
Which, and also what was happening in 2012.
Yeah,
Recovering from the fallout of 2008.
yeah. Well, we also bought a 3-bed, 2-bath house, about 1,300 square feet for $79,000.
Oh my gosh.
It was a HUD home.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So that was definitely a different market. But anyways, yeah. But like what you were saying is like they don't cut a check to you. It's essentially you're getting two separate loans. You're getting your home loan, and then there's a second loan that acts as a lien on your home for your down payment assistance. And you have essentially two payments that they're wrapping into one for your house payment. But with these down payment assistance programs, they're making it way more affordable. So there's like Fairway Mortgage has their own down payment assistance program. There's like the Home Plus, Home in 5 stuff, and there's all like different requirements to meet. But like with these down payment assistance programs, you can get in. I think with Fairways, you can get in with a FICO score of 600,
which is going to be a good amount lower than a lot of
you can't even get in.
willing.
Yeah, if you have a 600 credit score, you're not going to get approved to get a rental.
Right.
But the other Home in 5 and Home Plus ones, they're at 640.
So, okay, question then. We talked about if you are getting down payment assistance, usually your interest rate is going to be a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
So with these,
usually not on the initial loan, but on the second loan.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
So with these ones that we're talking about here today, if it's the Home in 5 or from Fairway, what are the benefits that we're seeing? Is there anything else besides the lower FICO score that they're willing to accept?
Yeah, so that's just one of the main benefits. It's because a lot of people have issues. Well, the people I run across, they don't necessarily have an income problem. It's more of their FICO score they messed up in the past, and they just never did anything about it, or they're just bad with their money. They have things in collections. They make good money, but they're just not paying it off, kind of thing. So having the lower FICO score makes it easier to get in. And then a lot of these programs have repay / like forgiveness. So after the third year, your loan is actually forgiven and you don't have to pay it anymore.
And so that would then drop your payment?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So it'd act almost like PMI, which is your...
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's different programs. So when you talk to your lender, they're going to put you in the one that fits you best on your needs. Because there's ones where it'll drop off with the forgiveness.
Yeah.
There's ones where that second loan, the down payment assistance loan, is for 3 years, it's interest free. So you're not paying any extra interest on it or anything like that, which is almost as good as getting it forgiven and stuff. But there's small little things like a lot of the programs, they require you to take an educational class, which is usually like an online 2-hour course where you click through it, and it's just to supposedly help
get a certificate at the end of it.
Yeah, and get people to be more knowledgeable about the finances and kind of what you're getting into. Yeah, kind of thing. But you get the lower FICO score. Some of these do have income limits, so which is just over 126,000, that's a pretty high loan limit for somebody who's looking to get down payment assistance program.
Right, and like you said, it's if someone has a very good income, like the 126,000, and your FICO scores the credit because of whatever reason, there's credit repair companies out there, and they're not just. The guy who owns the gym I go to, he has a credit repair business, and there are people out there where it's not just some scummy, we'll do some weird finagling to get this. It's like, no, there's an actual process on how we get this done, and they're going to walk through with you. They get to look at it from the credit reporting side to say, here's why it's reporting so low. They can get that fixed. So if you're above that income limit and you have just been a little ignorant with what you were supposed to do, call the people that you need to get that up.
The nice thing with those programs is that they'll actually sometimes you have to like request things to get it taken off of your score and all that stuff, and they'll do it for you. But a little hidden secret gem, like lenders act as credit repair. So they look at your credit and they can, because especially lenders that are good, like they're knowledgeable in, why a credit score might be low, based on like, too much money on this credit card. So they can give you advice on like, hey, pay down this one to this amount of money, this to this, pay off this kind of thing. Oh, let's get this off. You need to contact this company to get this off of your thing, or call this company and negotiate with the collections person, So there's a lot of, there's so many, that's the problem though. Like a lot of people who have these issues, they're just, the reason why they are where they are is because they want to pretend like it's not there because they get overwhelmed with it. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of people out there that, can help you get through all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But even there's programs where if you're a first responder, a teacher and stuff, you can get an extra 1.5% down payment assistance. And all these programs, you can get anywhere between 1 to 5%. Most of the time, it's around 1 to 3% of the purchase price.
And that's for the down payment?
For the down payment.
Or closing costs.
Yeah, and or closing costs. Yeah, so it'll help. So you might see sometimes people might advertise it as get inside a house for $0 down. So that essentially you're just getting a down payment assistance program in order, so you don't have down payment, you don't have that, you don't have closing costs. And even if especially right now in this market, like you get down payment assistance program, you might want to use all of it and put 5% down instead of 3%. And then when you put in offers with your agent, you can ask for concessions and let the seller pay for your closing costs. So there's a lot of ways to get inside of a home these days. And so, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, especially, a real estate agent, everybody knows one these days, their mom, their cousin, second cousins are real estate agents.
Mason.
Yeah, or me. But they're good. Real estate agents are good resources because they know a lot of people and they can put you in touch with the right people. But talk to somebody. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I think that's what people get so scared of too. Yep. And the other thing too, when people get scared of, they're like, oh, I know my credit score is bad. I know I'm not going to get it. I don't want to run my credit and make the credit even worse. Well, if your credit's that bad, and if running your credit for a home loan docks you points, like how much more is that really going to hurt?
And if I understand correctly, it's not going to dock you considerable points unless you're running it like with 5 different lenders outside of a 30-day window.
Yeah, I think it's a 30. It might even be longer. Like I think it might be like a 90-day window. You can get multiple, as long as it's like through.
Which
they know it's a home loan.
Yeah, and they can verify that with the lender before they do the credit check. But if you are going to
and here's the thing too, is like a lot of people who are anal about their credit scores, like they have Experian and stuff. Well, they don't. Experian stuff uses their own formula to best, match your FICO score. So if you do get your credit ran when you're trying to get a home loan, you're going to notice on Experian that your credit score dropped. But on your FICO score, which is the one that matters, that lenders and everybody run to look to see, 9 times out of 10, you don't get a single point docked from your credit score. If anything, you might get 1 to 2 points depending on what your credit score is, and if in the more recently you've had it run for getting a car loan or a credit card or anything like that, you might get 1, maybe 2 points knocked off, if anything at all. Mm-hmm. But also too, like that's like a 30-day window.
Yep.
And a lender knows that too. They're like, oh, pull your credit score, it's at 718, but if you got 720 score, like they'll be like, oh, 30 days that'll be off, so they'll quote you at 720 credit score, you get under contract, and they'll take care of all that on the back end. Yeah. So as bad as interest rates are, and as bad as freaking cost of rental homes right now, like if you can afford over a $2,000 rental home, which is usually the going rate now to get inside of one,
unfortunately,
like what does it hurt to see if you can qualify for own a house versus instead of renting it?
Yeah. If you're one of the 4.5 million people in Maricopa County, we have a realtor for you.
Yeah. But with that said too, your specific situation, it might be smarter to rent right now.
Situations.
That's why, like, I'm not here to say, like, oh, you have to buy a house, blah, blah, blah. It depends on your situation and what you're going through. If you have a plan of action on what you want to do, where, like, a plan where renting isn't long term, I think it's a great option. Yeah, you're renting an apartment right now.
Yep, and the big part of it was, hey, do we have the cash on hand to really get all this stuff done? There weren't down payment assistance programs on the table that we wanted to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, this is fairly new too, by the
way. So that's the other thing. We're like, all right, we're going to rent. We found a good price on an apartment, and the whole plan is to really get our financial legs under us with the intention of buying a house. So
yeah. Well, a buddy of mine that's in the industry, he bought a home 4 or 5 years ago. Business isn't as well as he wanted to. They actually sold the home, made a fuckload of money off of it, paid off all their debt. They're debt free. They don't even own a home now, and now their plan is they prepaid for 18 months of rent. So now they're living in a home for 18 months rent free. They don't have to pay rent, just utilities, and they've got a plan of action to end up buying a home again in 18 months.
That's great.
But it's like that's a really smart move to do, instead of just like, oh no, I want to own a home. I want to own a home and do this because that's fine. But like,
which in the common theme that it came down to at the end of the day for this is it's discipline. It's financial discipline. Oh yeah, right. With anything we talked about with the credit score, we talked about with the saving for the down payment, all that good stuff. So it's if you're married, if you have a significant other, whatever it is, it's being on the same page, putting a plan together, executing the plan. It's not sexy. It's straightforward, and that's it.
Yeah, and the odds too. If you're paying $2,500 a month, you get one of these down payment assistance programs. And
Chipotle here?
Oh yeah, it is DoorDash. I wonder if they're here.
All right.
Can you hit pause? Or do you just want to talk to him on the phone?
We can talk to him on the phone. Let's talk to DoorDash.
Hello, this is Mason. Hello,
hey, Mason. This is Robin from DoorDash.
Hey.
Hey, I am sitting out front right now by the State Farm business.
Oh, what car are you in?
I'm in a white RAV4.
All right, perfect. I'm coming to you.
Perfect.
All right. Can you just point to him?
Yeah, he's right outside. All right, while Mason takes his trip around the block, I have a building process to go through with you guys. So this one came up just recently at a, let's look at the camera, let's see the people. There we go. This came up at a hall bathroom renovation that we were doing out in Scottsdale. The homeowner wanted to do a very high gloss black finish in their hall bathroom on the walls, and it has then turned into the ceiling. So they saw a design on Pinterest, and they were like, hey, can you do this? And which for us is perfect, because they kind of give us, here's what we want the final product to look like. So on our end, we just have to kind of get it there. So it is we were able to look into it because what she had showed us was a mirrored finish on walls. And so it's not a mirror. It's not something special you do with that, but it has such a lacquer finish that you can just about see your reflection in it. We're able to find out that this product is called is through a company called Fine Paints of Europe, and they're able to achieve such a reflective sheen on it. So with paint, you've got flat, which is no sheen, and then you've got your eggshell, velvet, semi-gloss, gloss, and the gloss is then on a range as well. I was telling the people we've got a hall bath that these people want a specific paint on. Anyways, so for the hall, for this one, I was through some research, found out that the gloss that these people were looking for is a 90 sheen. Sheen is measured on a 0 to 100 scale, 100 being a mirror. So this paint is able to go on and provide a 90 out of 100 scale. So you can just about see yourself pretty dang well in the reflection of this paint.
Why would you want that?
I'll show you pictures. If
Some
you guys
freaky shit.
no, it just like you got to see it because on some of the woodworking stuff, it's like in libraries and it looks badass.
Does it?
Oh, dude,
Is it expensive?
You want to know how expensive it is?
Yeah. What's the typical can? $40?
All right, so it's an oil-based paint, so it's more expensive.
Yep.
First of all, I think, and since they're getting it from Europe, it's not in gallons. It's in what is that? Liters.
Liters, yeah.
Yep. So you buy it in liters. So it's already more expensive just on material. But the material's one thing. Was set at 84? Mm-hmm. Sweating it out here, huh? Here's the real kicker. Black is the hardest paint to do, first of all. And I'll get to that in a second. For this, though, for them to apply fine paints of Europe paint to a wall, they need to get it perfectly smooth. So when I called one of the only painters in Arizona that does this, he told me, he's like, hey, this is not something that your drywaller does. This is something we come out and do to get your walls perfectly smooth. The process that it takes for us to go through it is we need to get those walls so perfectly smooth. Then we also need to get it to be a completely dust-free environment.
Jeez.
So from what I was told, there's some guys who will have fans going in a room with like kiddie pools in there to collect any dust that is blown into the air in the water. He said that to do a hall bathroom would be 2 to 3 weeks. This is just for the paint alone. The cost that we would have to charge the customer to make all of this happen was going to be $14,000.
Jeez.
This is not a big hall bathroom. There is a shower, there is a toilet, there is a vanity. $14,000 for the paint.
Did they do it?
They did not.
Okay.
Because they heard that, and that would have been a very considerable chunk of the entire renovation budget.
Yeah.
So that brings us to...
That makes, I didn't even think about the dust. Like, obviously, with that high of a sheen, you want smooth as possible. Otherwise, it's going to look weird as fuck.
Dude,
every little detail you're going to see.
Yes, it almost is a freaking mirror that you're looking at. I'll show you pictures, and if you guys want, look it up on Instagram. Find Paints of Europe, Pinterest, whatever. Go to their website. I don't care. It's the pictures that they've got are nuts. Anyways, Dunn Edwards has a product called Arista Shield, and they've got a high gloss. It's a synthetic, so it's part latex. I think it's part latex, part oil-based, or part latex, part water-based, and it can get a 70 sheen. So it's not 90, but it's still like you start walking up to the walls and you can start to see your shape reflected to you in the sheen. It's nuts. But we were doing black, and what we found out is black is one of the hardest to do because it will show any imperfections in the wall. If you thought white was bad, black is 100 times worse. Did you find it?
No.
No. Did you look up Fine Paints of Europe?
No, I didn't go that deep.
What are you doing? Anyways, so it requires a lot of sanding, basically making those walls perfectly smooth, which is some people will call the level 5 finish. And it has been a journey for us to get it done. But it's one of those things where if you don't want to go the ultra luxury route of the Fine Paints of Europe, you can still achieve a lot of that high gloss finish. And if it's not black, it's a lot easier too because the walls don't have to be as scary perfect as you would with a black.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. All right. Something we had talked about going over in the podcast is what do employers offer to employees? So we kind of did a hard left turn in our topics real quick, but I know we don't have too much time left in our recording because you've got a family that you probably want to go see.
And food to eat.
That too. But kind of going over the topic of what do employers offer to employees. And part of this is like I didn't want to make it a rant because I don't really feel like I've got anyone to rant against. But every once in a while you seem to kind of get this attitude from people, which is not often, but I've got employees and I pay them, like, what else am I supposed to offer to them? But I think more probably the general thing that we're hearing right now is I'm having such a hard time hiring people. There's people who don't want to work, things like that. But when we kind of dig into it, the question then becomes, what are you offering to the people who would be employees for you? Why would someone want to work for you? And we see this in all industries. I don't have an industry necessarily to call out specifically, but we kind of want to dig into what do employers offer to employees, and as people who want to be essentially having employees, or for you, you'd be working with partners. But if you're going to be in a team or team lead capacity, it's like what would we be looking to offer to them? So some of the stuff we had listed out are going to be the pay and benefits, skills and training, flexibility or convenience. Did you have anything else we want to throw on that list real quick?
Rattle those off again. You said those quickly.
The pay and benefits. So it's there for some companies. It's like, hey, if it's Costco, right? You get a decent salary there, but also the benefits sometimes are a thing that really keeps people there. Mm-hmm. Same thing like for my wife, where she works at Phoenix Children's, and they've got great health insurance because they're with the hospital, stuff like that. So it's like, okay, she gets paid well, but it's also the benefits are great. Yeah. So that's something that as an employer, you can really attract someone with. The skills and training, this would be something where people would acknowledge, hey, I can't pay the same as maybe a larger company, but what I can do is if I target going after people who are straight out of college to say, I can train you, but I do need you to work hard for me. I'll try and help you get the skills that would translate to a larger company. Mm-hmm. And then the last one we had listed here was flexibility and convenience, which is going to be, for some people, if that means, hey, I've got to work close to home or close to my kid's school so I can pick them up, or the convenience of a flexible schedule, stuff like that, to allow for certain things in the lifestyle. I think one that I did forget to put on there that you did mention before we started recording was going to be upward mobility in a company. And for some people, they see that as if I come into a company and they're continually hiring the upper management positions just from externally, it's why do I have a motivation to be here when I could be in a different company that does offer some of the higher pay and benefits, the different skills and stuff for the people who want to move up, things like that.
Yeah, what was your question?
Which, for us, it's kind of just, I don't know, to me, it's more just kind of like bouncing around with thoughts on that as far as what do you see in terms of I'd say I look at a prime example of this might be teachers or people in that industry. Like my mom, she works for a school. She's a teacher's aide, and she doesn't get paid a ton of money. Like she could get paid more money doing fast food, and they talk about how they're struggling with getting more teacher's aides. And that's one of the things too, where it's like, okay, what is the employer offering? Yeah. And what should employers be offering? Because we hear a lot of people talk about, hey, like I'm willing to pay people $15 an hour and I can't get anyone. It's like, so maybe let me set the table like this. I come to you, I say, I can't, and I'm going to say I'm not doing, never mind. I come to you and say, I can't get anyone to work for me for $15 an hour. It's ridiculous. What's going to be your response to me as far as if you're going to say in almost like a business coaching or just a friend who's helping me analyze the situation?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's just like, okay, well, what else are you offering? You know, I think as a business person, if like a lot of those, like the Amazon companies, you know, like, oh, they offer, you know, high wages, you know, but like to do like to make phone calls or to like do something, you know, pack stuff, do stuff like that. They like, that's how they advertise and get a lot of people to work for them. But you're also, in doing that, I think you're also getting people who are, you pay them $21 an hour, you're probably not going to get the work ethic of $21 an hour. Or you're going to get people that are there just for the paycheck, so they're just going to get the job done and not go with kind of the extra mile. So my opinion is like, you know, paying the most you know, depending on what type of job it is, obviously. If it's an entry-level job, like, you're not going to get necessarily the best candidates. Where some people, you know, thoughts might be like, well, yeah, you pay more, you're going to get the better people to come work for you. Well, depends on the position. But, like, yeah. But in your scenario, we're having trouble. It's like, well, what else are you offering them? You know, as far as, like, what is the job? You know, is it entry-level? You want somebody to learn? I think the biggest thing, which is what I would tell my kids once they get older. It's, how can you benefit from work? Yes, you want to work for somebody, but it's also like whoever you work for. What else how can you benefit from there? Like, I'm talking more probably as like an employee right now, but it's just like, you know, what else can that company, you know. But if you want essentially as an employer, you want people to think like that because those are going to be your harder workers. It's like, well, you know, what else can you learn from? Can you teach? Is this something you want to, you know, stay in long term? So is there a lot of upward movement? Are they going to teach you how to do things? Or are you just going to be a grunt and do whatever I say? So to you, trying to get people to work for that, you know, you be more advertising and pitching, be like, hey, like, this is, you know, because obviously just knowing you that you're somebody who wants, if you have people working for you and you're making money, you're not going to be the only one making money. Like, you're going to be somebody who, you know, is going to give raises and stuff like that. Which as an employee, that's hard to pinpoint an employee that's gonna be like that. But it's more of like, you know, selling yourself / your company. It's like, hey, like, this is where we are now. This isn't what it's going to be in the future. You know, like, I can offer you, you know, whatever the shadow thing is. I can teach you this, I can teach you the onboard skills that you need in this industry, which is more important than any kind of certificate or anything like that. So, the teaching, the moving up, this isn't, you know, I'm not a multi-million-dollar business right now. Like, you're getting in at ground zero.
Right.
Like, where do you want to go?
Right.
You know? So, that's what I would say. It'd be more pitching, you know, like in your scenario, if you're not having trouble people interviewing, you're having trouble people, like, once you go through the interview and you say, like, the amounts and stuff like that, getting people to actually agree, you definitely want to pitch on, like, what you're going to learn, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, move up, all these benefits from working with the company. FaceTime. So, I mean, I guess we have to be more of like a specific question, I guess. Right.
And I think in terms of looking at it from the employer side, like if we were to be talking to employers as far as they're saying, hey, I'm offering $15 an hour for this position. Why am I struggling with this? And it'd be to say, all right, you need to figure out who you're marketing to now. Because right now, with how the job economy is, there's a lot of open employment out there. So we're not in a 2008 position where a lot of people are out of a job and they're going to take whatever good opportunity is in front of them. There's a lot of good opportunities out there, and a lot of those good opportunities, like we said, it's if In-N-Out's paying $18 an hour, Walmart in some cases, I think their minimum is now like $17.50. It's like the $15 an hour guy has to now come to terms with, hey, there's a considerable chunk in the market that is paying more than you are. If financially you can't do that, you need to then figure out who you're marketing to in regards to your hiring process. So if you're looking for a person who has a certain skill set, like if it's in the trades, if you're looking for someone who has a skill in the trades, then you might need to look at the pricing. And obviously, like, that would go into higher level, like, well, maybe not higher level, but like a deeper level of looking at someone's books. But if we were to kind of set that aside, the skill set aside for the minute, but to say the person that you're advertising to is going to be probably most likely someone that isn't going to take a lot of onboarding, isn't going to be someone who's going to have a lot of skills that you need to pay for, things of that nature. Who should you be targeting? It could be people who are in high school, college, things of that nature, so they need a good job. But then also, can you provide a certain amount of flexibility? Can you have more employees to allow for more flexibility, but have them more on a part-time schedule? Things of that nature. So it's getting creative and understanding the nature of the employment environment right now out there. So, and how that I've kind of translated this to what I'm looking at in SITO. And one of the hard parts is, for the guys that I work with, I made it very clear as far as, I don't need you to know all the skills. I'll teach you them here because I have a certain standard that I want them to be done with, or a certain way that I want the people to conduct themselves. I'm going to pay you a high wage that is going to be pretty freaking high for what the construction market is doing right now. And the reason why is I'm going to pay you a lot, but I expect a lot of you. So when I can come and make that pitch to someone to say, hey, I'm offering training in a skill, a very good wage with that as well, I'm now able to have my pick of who comes to work with me. So it's also understanding as the employer that what function are they going to be doing at $15 an hour? So being able to step back and say, here's the financial resources I have. How can I also, are there things that I can manipulate just beyond the $15 an hour that would make someone want to choose this over something else? The other one, like we said, would be convenience and flexibility. Can you hire people that are local that might not want to be traveling as far or don't have the ability to travel as far? So this would go back to high school students would be a good one. If you have a local high school in the area where you've got some kids who do want to make some extra money, and if you can have that flexibility of schedule, that they can then walk to the business that they're going to work at if they don't have a car. So you're not competing with people outside of maybe then a 1 mile radius at that point. So it's all those factors that start going into, in a bad economy, yes, you're going to be able to set, like, the power of negotiation is on your side. Here's what I offer. If that's not for you, go look at another booth to see if they've got something. And in a bad economy, a lot of times they don't. In a good economy right now where there's a lot of opportunity, you've got to be the one saying, hey, here's what I offer. Will you come join me on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you started off, you pick your demographic or what kind of people you're going for, whether it's, high school kids or people coming out of college or whatever. But it's almost like, it's almost, you have to ask the right questions. And
Could be a mom even too looking to work part-time to be able to take care of
exactly.
her kids.
Yeah, exactly. If you're advertising, you got part-time, full-time, flexibility kind of thing. Because, when you have job openings, there's some type of marketing you have to do for it. But then you can, what kind of person you're looking for. But also, like, in the interview process, ask a lot of questions on, like, why are you doing this? What interest do you have in this? Do you see yourself doing this, like, in the future? Is this like a side gig for you? What do you like to do?
And as the employer, understanding that too, whereas
that's what I mean.
If it is a high turnover thing, it's like how do I develop this position to be a high turnover, low barrier of entry job that they can jump into?
Yeah, I don't know if you can, like, can you control the turnover rate? I think that goes to your the work environment.
Yeah, well, yes and no. To, like, when you think of, like, fast food, right? There's going to be a high turnover rate because usually you're going to have...
I guess I'm thinking more of the, in your field, the construction field.
Right, which that would go back to all the things that we said. It's the pay flexibility, all those things. So it's like setting up what we talked about, because there's some guys where they want to be able to, like, I want to start at 6. I want to be able to get off at 2:30 every single day. This employer allows me to do that. I'm never asked to work any overtime. Like, it's a very just black and white. So they're willing to, hey, this guy's good to me and all that. So there are certain intangibles that are important for that person to then advertise as well.
Yeah, I think it just has to be more like strict. Like, hey, these are the hours. Like you said, set the expectations. When you work, these are the hours, kind of thing, and then develop, some type of flexibility as far as, like, the expectation is that you work these hours at least 3 days a week, 4 days a week, kind of thing. But in even offering, so you could once if you have a potential employee that you think that he's gonna be really good, like, okay, well, what do you want to do, and kind of be like, if I find out, if you find out something you really like to do and I think you're good at it, then I'm going to put you on more jobs like this so you can get more experience. But also when that time comes, you're going to be one of the first people that I'm going to pay to get their certification and become a certified whatever. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be running that side for me. It's a lot, especially your field. I feel like you need people that want to be in it. I think the good thing is that when you get people that interview, like, most of them probably aren't just looking for a paycheck. They have some type of interest or enjoy. Theoretically,
sometimes there's other people where it's like, hey, I just need a good job.
Yeah, and then
we're the ones that'll take them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they just ask, okay, well, what are you willing to do? Yeah. And because you also have to, as an employer, you have to set your expectations. Mm-hmm. But then also the benefits of them meeting those expectations, what comes with that.
Yeah, which at the end of the day, money and a job is a transaction, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're a W-2 employee, you're doing a transaction, if you're full-time, usually 5 days a week with your employer. I'm going to trade you my time, energy, efforts, and skills for a certain wage. Mm-hmm. And so you need to agree on what those skills, energy, effort, time looks like, and the money that is transferred for that. So we're talking about some of the extras in there as well, but all of this is a transaction that is happening.
Oh, yeah. Set the expectation like this, $15 an hour. I'm only going to give you work that require like $15 an hour. Like some of the like other jobs too, like even especially teaching, like, it's you get paid to do this, but there's so much extra stuff that they have to do that they don't get compensated or they're expected to do. Yeah. Where it's at $15 an hour, this is what's expected. If I ask you to do anything else or anything more or anything like that, I will compensate you for that time. Yeah. Like if I ask you to watch over a job on here, you're going to get paid this much that day. Right. Kind of thing, Yep. Which, yeah, that would be hard to... You definitely probably... I don't think... If you write the right questions in your industry, I don't feel like you're going to have too much turnover as long as you're, do a good job interviewing people. But I think you're going to get a lot of applicants that just aren't going to fucking work. Right. You might go through 50 applicants before you find one. But once you find one, hopefully it's one that stays for long. And then once you get bigger, you're going to have those lower end jobs where the turnover will be higher.
And at that point too, which can be a topic for another time, it would also be setting yourself up to understand how do I deal with high turnover. Mm-hmm. Fast food restaurants do it all the time. They're geared for, you can be here today, gone tomorrow, and that's okay. Yep,
they expect you to work that shift, make fries, say hello, smile, that's it. Yep. And eventually businesses, you do need to have those people. Yep. Just like everybody can't be an entrepreneur, you need employers in order for the society to function. Yep.
Well, out of a podcast that we felt like we were going to have a rough direction on, we've got like an hour and 20 minutes out of it.
Yes, we do. What are we going to call it? We'll figure it out.
All right. Tell them where they can find you.
All right. You can find me on the IG at MasonOxendale.
If they want to reach out to you directly?
Yes. You can either message me on Instagram or call or text me. 623-824-1770. And I got some stuff in the works, like we're like both of us, we got our business are always growing, looking to give more, and have more opportunities to speak to more people and just give out some more free knowledge.
You can find what I'm doing on the construction side at SITO_building. I'm back from the honeymoon, so we're in full gear for the jobs right now. We're starting to book. We're booking out June right now. We've got yours booked for July. So if you guys have projects you want done, same thing. DM on Instagram or 602-471-8182. Let me know what you want done. If you guys have pictures, videos, that's always helpful. Please, of your projects only. I do not want anything else. So until next time, I hope your hammer stays accurate, your Wi-Fi fast, and your work blessed. See everybody.
Bruh, bruh.